This is Max Show to Pro Boxing fans. I'm like joined once again by Izzy Asif. Izzy, we just said Happy New Year. Obviously, it's my first interview of the year, and I think the best way to start this is looking back at 2025. All the achievements, obviously, we see how highly you ranked number two promoter, only behind Turki Al Sheikh. Obviously, you've had the stadium show, your first world title with GBM. Just a look back at 2025 with GBM boxing.
Yeah, look, without doubt, it was our outstanding year. Starting off with the biggest thing probably start off was doing the stadium show,
Mm.
and then the world title. Logistically, anybody who's done any promoter out there who's done a stadium show understand how hard it is logistically. Putting a world title on, doing an international show, building Gratus Krauss to one of the biggest stars in world boxing, bringing the tournament format, the Heist. So yeah, the year we're just constantly trying to do stuff, trying to kind of develop, trying to innovate kind of stuff all the time in a sport that sometimes can get a bit robotic and same old, same old. We're trying that all the time, and yeah, it was a great year. And obviously, to get the award, like you mentioned, to be voted one of the best promoters in the business, it was like a bit of a kind of pinch myself moment. I didn't really like. I got a friend of mine sending it me on WhatsApp. Oh, look what you've seen. I think is he winding me up? I didn't really know that if it's happened or not. Then I actually went to Meadow Hall and I got the magazine. And when you kind of open it up, really hits home. I think, wow. Don't forget, Max. I grew up reading this magazine.
Mm.
Boxing News is one of the magazines. I grew up as an amateur boxer, as a professional boxer, and you're always looking at stories, what they said about your fights, or who's doing well in the game. It's something I've grown up reading. So when you kind of see yourself in flesh there, like one of them moments, wow, kind of goosebump moment. And yeah, but look, it's a credit to the team. There's been a lot of work behind the scenes with the team. We put a lot of effort in. Some of the stuff we've done, creative stuff we've done on the socials and the PR stuff and everything. It's been second to none. Matching anybody in the country. So a lot of credit goes to them. But yeah, overall, a really good year as a promoter. Obviously, had the tragic loss of AJ's friend, Lats and Sinner. Obviously, I want to share my condolences and prayers to the families and especially Lats, who was a friend of mine who I actually messaged November the 19th, last time we texted each other. I checked it. So obviously, prayers and thoughts, and hopefully they find some sort of kind of peace in a difficult time. And obviously, AJ, who's obviously in the same industry as us, boxing, who's looked upon by a lot of people. I hope he gets through this tough time. And yeah, but other than that, look, we're a bit of a dampener to end the year. Other than that, it's been a phenomenal year, and we're still here. We're healthy, and we're ready to go 2026.
100%. I imagine the industry you're in is very based on results, how your fighters do, tickets, retention. But I've been around a lot of GBM fight week this year, and obviously you've had last minute pullouts. Like it's not been plain sailing. Does that almost make the success a bit sweeter when you have, oh, sugar, someone's pulled out, for example, and then you still put on a brilliant event? Does that make it that much sweeter?
Yeah, absolutely. Of course it is. Because I think when you have adversity, and that's not just in boxing life, you can really enjoy the good days when you've had a few bad days and you've had a few days that have not been going great for you, and you enjoy them good days. Similar to boxing, if you had it all rosy and all straightforward, you probably won't know how to enjoy it or appreciate it. But the fact we've had so many obstacles, so many last minute hurdles, dropouts, pullouts, you know, everything you can think of, we had potential promoted the first few years. Then when you do finally get it over the line, it's so much more enjoyable, so much satisfaction knowing that you've overcome this, adversity or hurdles or obstacles. You've overcome these and you've put it together, which it gives you a lot of satisfactory feeling and gives you a lot of kind of peace within yourself, knowing that you've overcome. It says a lot about yourself as well, because I always say you learn about yourself as a promoter. You really know what you're about when you come up in situations. And I tell you one thing, boxing promotion, you've got to be prepared for everything. You can't be surprised. You've got to be cool, calm, and collective, because especially fight week, things happen and things change, and you've got to be able to be adaptable and react correctly for you, your outfit, and the fighters.
Definitely, let's talk about today's breaking news. The heist goes global. For those that didn't see it, I was there during fight week, but talk to me about GBM, the heist, what it is. And I saw the buzz around, especially fight night. Just what is the heist?
Heist is obviously the tournament format, one night action, eight fighters, one winner, action, non-stop dramas, jeopardy. There's everything in that one night. You see the heist, like we did a lot of shows. I've done a lot of shows in 4 years, whatever I've done over the 4 years. I have never had the reaction and the praise from fans like I did with the Heist. And so we've thought, if they like it so much, let's take it global. Let's show the world how good this format is. So we're going global. We've partnered up with an Australian-based sports performance company that focus on sports nutrition and sports recovery, RIG. So it'll be in association with RIG. We'll be partnering with them, and we'll be going global. We're going to 5 different countries, 4 different continents, starting off with Dubai, Mallorca, Miami, Australia, the UK. This format will go everywhere. And we'll have 8 fighters, 8 different. We're going to do 5 different weight categories. We've got 1 or 2 already in the pipeline. Which one we're going to do? We'll be announcing that in the next few weeks. And yeah, it's going to be exciting. There's going to be huge prize money for the winner. The biggest, a lot bigger than we give before. Maybe twice, 3, 4 times, maybe if the maths is good, potentially 3, 4 times more than what we've had before. It's going to be huge, and it's going to attract a lot of people, and there'll be fighters from all over the world interested in going in this format. And yeah, we're glad to take it all over the world.
Definitely. My first ever show that I covered was a GBM one. And I remember speaking to you, and something that sticks out to me is the ideas and the dreams that you and the whole team have. And something that we've spoken about on multiple occasions is going global. Dubai, Mallorca, I think you've spoken to me about. And now it's happening. Is that just another pinch me moment that your promotion is going on the world stage?
I'm sick of being the best promoter in the country, Max. I just want to be the best in the world now. I'm sick and tired of
It's
it. I've had
time.
enough. Now, listen, I just feel like this is such a hard business.
Hmm.
You've got to keep pushing yourself, and you've got to keep testing yourself. And like, I'm not saying I'm bored of it, but like, yeah, we've done a UK shows. We know what it's about. Right, let's take this around the world. Let's logistically, it's going to be harder. It's going to be harder for me as a promoter, different things that I've not come across before, different vicinities I'm not used to, different people I'm dealing with. So it's just something that we want to always be pushing ourselves. And look, next year we might do something else, but I just feel like if you stay stagnant in this kind of game, you're going backwards, and you're going to get caught up with the thing. We've got to keep developing, using our creative ideas and doing stuff. And this is just another one, a typical GBM move. I feel like since we've been in the business for 4 years, we've always tried to do different stuff, tried to be different, creative, and we've got a great team behind us. And this is just one of them moves. And like I said to you, we want to be global. And it's funny that most of the things I've said in the last 4 years to you or to interviews has almost come true, has almost come to kind of surface, and maybe that's a bit of manifestation, maybe that's a bit of a talk it into existence kind of mindset. But listen, you've got to dream and you've got to be dared. And one thing we've definitely done in GBM, we've dared, we've dreamed, and we've invested. And this year will be another huge year. It could be the biggest year we've ever had, this 2026.
Definitely. I think when you look at a format like the Heist with your less rounds, you expect more action. I remember a fighter that I could not wait to see in a Heist format was Taz Nadeem. And again, when you're looking ahead at these 5 shows, but I imagine you've got more planned in the future. But is there a name that almost sticks in your mind? I don't want you to reveal too much, but that you think the Heist, it's just all action.
What's that? Sorry, say
Is
that
there a
again, Max.
name that you think suits the Heist perfectly? The way they fight, this that quick action.
Yeah, I see that. I would say that. I say there's no particular fight because certain fighters you think are going to be suited for the action aren't. So there's nobody out there that I look. We thought Taz Nadeem, I thought he'd be a strong favourite to win it, and so did a lot of people. But it proved it wasn't. It was James Osborne, who hardly anybody picked. So I don't know. I think it's on the night and how you adapt. Because somebody who might have an aggressive style might not be that suited for 3 rounds, and you might get a particular fighter who's on his back foot but can pick the wins and get the rounds and get the round, stay consistent and not get hurt. He could be suited to this style. So I don't think there's any particular name out there I think will be outstanding for the Heist. I think he's suited for anybody, and it will deliver because he's 3 treatment now. It's a short format. If you bring a good game plan and deliver on the night, I think you've got a chance. So there's nobody out there I think is a definite suited for the Heist. I think with the prize money that we offer and the weight category we do, and obviously I want to push on the British fighters, I think we'll have a heck of a lot of interest for fighters to be in this tournament. And it's going to be down to myself and my team to make sure we pick the right guys who are suited best stylistically wise, match them together, and just make entertaining nights. That's what we're here for. We want to entertain.
Definitely. And while I've got you, someone you mentioned that you're really proud of working with during 2025 and obviously into 2026, Gratus Krauss, he returns at the end of the month. And obviously now he's on the BBC. Obviously, you're seeing him on these stages. Just how excited are you for Gratus Krauss? And obviously the partnership with Ben Shalom and Boxer now.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, for me, it's always about what's best for the fighters. If an opportunity comes and it financially is suited for the fighters, we go.
Mm.
I can't allow. Yeah, of course, we'd like to keep him on a GBM card, but if we're getting a fight offer that's substantially more than what we were willing to pay, or our budget allows us to pay. We've got to let the fighters move on, because the fact is, as a promoter, you have many opportunities. As fighters, you've got one chance, one chance in one career. So I've got to make sure these guys earn as much as they can. That's my job as a promoter. That's my legal and moral obligation, to make sure these guys, and the opportunity come. We're working with Bennett and Boxer, who I've got a great relationship with. Look, we built Gratis, unbelievable. Look, let's call it for what it is. Nobody had heard of him before we got hold of him. We got hold of him. We built him right. We invested in him when nobody. Look, you get a lot of offers as a promoter, but you've got to be careful who you pick. And normally, when you get Europeans or guys who are not heard of, not massive amateur pedigree, you're reluctant to invest in them. We took the risk with Gratis. We invested in him. We built him. We promoted him, and we got him the IBF European title. Made him almost a well-known name in British boxing, and now world boxing. He's getting to be known. I think we've done a cracking job on him, and even the show in Holland, when he, if you just look at our numbers, our social numbers, they're insane. For to say it wasn't televised on DAZN, and wearing a relatively new outfit, the numbers that match anybody in the world really would, with the social numbers and digital numbers we've got. So I think we've done a unbelievable job. Everybody knows Gratus Krauss. Everybody believes he's one of the best prospects in world boxing, and we've done our role now. Obviously, I'm still working alongside Ben on the management side, and we'll continue to help Gratus grow and be part of the journey. And I believe he'll. I'd be disappointed if he's not close to a world title in 2026 at some point. That's how much we want to move him on.
Definitely. Now, Izzy, obviously you've grown up in Sheffield and you've been around the Sheffield boxing scene. I've not had a chance to see the film yet, but obviously the film released this week with Prince Naseem Hamed. I mean, for you growing up in Sheffield as a fighter up and coming, firstly, just I imagine Naz and Brendan Ingle were both, I imagine they're both inspirations with you.
Yeah, of course. Look, it's brilliant what they've done for the sport. Naz was one of my first favourite fighters when I was watching growing up. He was entertaining. Anything could happen. Expect the unexpected with Naz. He brought the dramas. He can punch. He had a great ring walk. He liked to dance as well. He was entertainment. And of course, Brendan, I trained at the Ingles, I think it was 2009 for about 6, 7 months.
Mm.
I never boxed out there, but trained out there. So I had a bit of a relationship with Ben and obviously Brendan and the Ingle, sorry. And yeah, look, they've done great for the sport. He's brought a lot of world champions through a lot of. I think I seen a post today where they have had 37 champions or something like that. I can't remember what it was. I've seen something that might be wrong, them numbers, but there's
Mm.
so many there's 7 world champions, 7, 8 world champions, 19 European champions, and must have been more than 37 British champions. So look, the records, they don't give them away on eBay. You can't buy them on Amazon. You've got to earn them and build them, and credit to him, because he's provided opportunities for the fighters. And I think, yeah, it was a good watch, especially being a Sheffield boy, in our city and the sport that I love and grown up to be about. It was a good watch. Enjoyed it.
Definitely. Now, last one before I let you go. Obviously, we've seen the heavyweight news, Tyson Fury's return. There's so much talk. I saw him say that he doesn't want to fight Ajit Cabell because they're brothers. Obviously, hearing about Fabio Wardley, just with him returning, what almost roadmap do you think Tyson Fury should take if he was in charge of him? Which I don't think anyone can say what Tyson Fury does next.
I'd keep away from Fabio Wardley. Fabio
Really.
Wardley's just that kind of guy. He's
Mm.
just that kind of guy. And look, Tyson's got maybe 1 or 2 fights left, 2 or 3 possibly. Wardley always look. He just got that. He's just a dangerous fighter, and you've got to calculate what he brings to the table. Tyson's a big draw no matter who he fights. I'd potentially say keep away from Fabio Wardley. Fabio Wardley's a nightmare. Listen, if I were manage any heavyweight, I say, listen, he's the kind of guy you want to avoid, because he's just got that concussive punch power, and he's got that almost that. People say he didn't have no amateur background, but that kind of vulnerability could be hard to pick up sometimes. And you sometimes when you're fundamentals from the amateurs, you have certain ways you throw the right hand, you certain way you have the movement. But when you've not had that fundamental, you sometimes kind of an unorthodox style. And the way you throw your right hand, and sometimes it's harder to pick up. When you got in somebody who's straight up and got that amateur back, they always go back to that. But when you've got this raw kind of guy who's just got that raw power, it's hard to pick, and he's just a nightmare. Keep away from him. But Tyson's a big draw. He'll always be a big draw, and I think he'll go down his route. I don't know about. He said something about brothers. Did he say, listen, put the right money on, brothers go out a window? So listen, we're the prize fighters. If a substantial amount of money come, brothers will shake hands and they can be brothers after the fight. They'll earn, because look, they're in the business, entertainment, money business. They're the prize fighters, and if the right funding was there, I'm sure they can have an agreement and be brothers after the fight.
Definitely. Well, Izzy, thank you as always for your time, and fingers crossed in a couple of months we're there on a beach in Dubai for GBM the Heist. the
Yeah, not a
first
problem.
level
Just keep your
edition.
passport handy because yeah, you might be needing it.